All right, we have hit that 30-second mark. So welcome. I am Ross Allen. I'm one of the senior account managers here at Scanco. Appreciate your time. So every month, generally towards the end of the month, and this is kind of a crazy week as well. We have Memorial Day weekend coming up. Sage Partner Summit just wrapped up in Vegas. So, for those that did attend that are showing up today, we appreciate you nursing your hangovers to come and visit with us. But we do these monthly. These are 30 minutes. My goal is to get you in and out of here in under 30 minutes, or your pizza is free. But these are bite-sized informational pieces that we do based on something topical in the industry with supply chain or manufacturing. Or if you hit us up last month, we actually had one of our customers host the entire webinar about his journey through bringing on Scanco and what it took to get their team up and running and ramped up, and the success of it, and how to scale and grow it. So we do a wide variety of these, a wide variety of topics, and why we're there. We're always open to a new topic, or if you have something pressing you would love to hear about, you think that would really generate a good audience buzz, please email us, just sales@scanco.com, or myself, Ross@scanco.com. We would love to have that. So today we're talking about boosting shop floor efficiency. We're seeing a big uptick in the need for manufacturing in the United States. I think it's gotten even more busy as time goes on. I mean, you have various different manufacturing areas throughout the United States, a lot of it coming out of the Northeast and the West Coast, the Rust Belt, and even the South now. So a lot more manufacturing is being brought in-home, on-home base, which is great to hear. So that's what kind of boosted that topic of today. So what we're going to be covering is several different pieces of that. The first piece we're going to be covering is about why upgrading. So why did I put this topic number one, the first piece? Well, because a couple things. We have found that typically around this time of year, this summertime, which is a little bit more off season for a lot of our customers, because season time is starting in end of Q4, beginning of Q1 is when ramp up time. So a lot of customers are starting to do upgrades. So we're going to talk about why upgrades are important, what got us to that point. And that's not just upgrading your Sage system, but upgrading, if you're a current customer of ours, off of a legacy product as well. So we're going to be talking about that. Then we're actually going to get into some of the features and the transactions that can be done through our MFG100 application. And then we're always looking to bolster our product and bring some new functionality, new features. So we're going to actually be talking about what's coming up next, or what we've actually just recently launched as well. And then based on our topics of manufacturing, there's two other pieces that do play very well into that. There's some add-on features that we have that are completely either web-based or live inside of Sage to really enhance your manufacturing experience and even purchasing experience, which is a big part of manufacturing, believe it or not. And then how do you implement and grow the system? So we're going to talk about what we also offer as an organization or consultants you can bring on, or your partners. And then we're going to get to a slight demo at the very end, just to kind of give you just a visual tidbit, a visual taste of what can be done. And if we have time, we will get to questions. Now, this whole thing is being recorded for your viewing pleasure at a later time. So if you signed up, could not make it today, we are recording this. The recording and the little flyer on this will be going out in a few days. So be on the lookout for that in your email. If there's any questions, if you look at the little tab bar on the right-hand side, there's a place to plug in your questions. If we get to them at the end, great. If not, still plug them in, and I will reach out to you individually after the fact. So a little bit about Scanco. If you've never heard about us, we've been around for going on close to 38 plus years now. We are a family-owned and run business, and we don't take that word family very lightly. So we are a true family. A lot of husbands and wives are involved in the company. As you can see here, this is a recent party that we had. So we have, the kids, everyone. So we're actually creating the next future generation of developers and salespeople, believe it or not. Not everyone wants to be a salesperson. Some people want to be developers and support. But we are a true family. We've been doing this a long time. We're one of the original authors of the barcode module for Sage. We are an ISV of Sage, which means that we have a lot of plug and play features and enhanced Sage, and we've been doing it for quite some time. So we kind of live in three different worlds. If you think about it, we live in the mobile sales and field service application world. So we have products that live outside of the four walls of your building. We do have manufacturing automation, which is going to be our core focus today. And then we also have warehouse distribution automation. And then kind of intertwining and weaving in between all that, we have a WMS system called Multibin, which further enhances all these applications and kind of takes your Sage system to the next level. So as great as we love Sage 100 and all the great features it has, Sage relies on ISVs like Scanco to enhance the Sage experience without ever having to truly be in Sage if you don't need to. So, and a little bit about myself. I've been with Scanco. This is my 11th year now. I actually came from a distribution business before this, a family distribution business. I have a wife, a kid, and one dog who does come to work with me occasionally. He's my work. That's Liam. He likes hanging out in the chair at the office. I've been a longtime bagpipe player. In fact, I've been busy with Memorial Day coming up, and I'm an avid chef and like to run and work out and live in Florida, a lot of outdoor stuff. So that's the guy behind the voice that you're talking to. So feel free to hit me up. I'd love to chat with you individually on any things we're talking about today, or just get to know you a little bit better as well. So why are we upgrading? What's the talk on the whole upgrade? Well, I did mention earlier that this is that time of year where a lot of organizations, based on their consultants, their Sage resellers, are advising them to get on either a newer, more supported version of Sage. And so to kind of just asterisk on that a little bit, supported versions of Sage, we as a Sage developer, we follow the Sage rule of N, which is current, -2. So that means that the most current release in Sage right now just released is 2023.0, which means that the most last supported release is going to be 2021. 2020 is basically on the chopping block as far as that's concerned. So a lot of, again, when it comes to upgrades, please consult your consultant, your reseller, whoever you deal with in the Sage channel to kind of advise you and walk you through that, because there's a lot of moving pieces involved with that. So that's a big driving force. Another driving force why we're having this is because a lot of our legacy customers are finally upgrading off of older versions. They have some legacy versions of our products. Our old work order scan, it used to be called WOScan, or old VB or JOScan, which plugged into job ops. Both of those were desktop applications that were great functional tools, and they were a legacy tool, but we've since done a lot more to that. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. So the whole purpose is if you are in a legacy product and you're on this call today, that we want to get ahead of that. And I'll explain kind of how we walk through that process here in just a moment. And lastly, if you've been hearing about it, there's this whole thing called the TLS upgrade with Sage. So there's a big security release that a lot of products that live within inside of Sage require a TLS upgrade to be done. And that's driving a lot of upgrades. We're seeing customers literally come out of the woodwork from versions on 2014 and 2015 in Sage to start moving up, because a lot of the older versions of Sage that are affected, and again, please contact your Sage consultant or reseller, will go into a read-only mode starting in September. So that's why another big rush. So we really wanted to kind of focus on that. So why upgrade off of legacy products? Now, work order, by the way, is still being supported through Sage through at least 2022, which means that our legacy work order scan products will still be upgraded to that. But at some point, the legacy products kind of have to go by the wayside, and it's nice to get on the newer products. And I'll walk you through that timeline here on the next slide of what the kind of replacements are. But our legacy products were JOScan, which was for job ops, now operations management, and then work order scan was focused simply on the work order module in Sage and automating that from the floor. So a couple of the nice features that we've replaced a lot of that is one, new technology. So we have a whole new back end that allows a real-time integration back into Sage. The old products were great, but they basically went to an old SQL database that you had to sync to. And as great as that was, it didn't give you that real-time satisfaction and that you needed from a shop floor, from a production manager and operations manager standpoint, to know where things were at. So that's a big thing. So real time, no more syncing. That kind of brings me to my next piece, right? No more syncing. It goes right in time. You still have the dashboard, which will show at the end of this, that you have full control over that and that experience, but real time is the key. Resizable screen. So if the older product, you were limited to just the screen on the desktop. There was no, again, that's a legacy product that really wasn't built into it. So, the screen size you had was the screen size you had of the application. Ours will fit multiple devices now, so iOS, Android, and still Windows, desktop, not mobile. And the nice thing about it too is it basically form fits to the screen size you have. I have a lot of customers from the floor that use rugged tablets on the floor. They can turn it landscape or portrait view, and it sizes perfectly. It's much easier to use. There's a lot more user and device login options and control. There's a whole portal on the back end, which we'll show in a little bit as well. In the demo phase, that just acts like Sage role maintenance. You have complete control over the user experience from the floor. And it's a much cleaner and easier to use interface. Now, I will asterisk that really quick. that any of our customers that are moving off, that have not moved off yet, I should say, not moved off the legacy products and are looking to move on to this product, please reach out to the sales team, sales@scanco.com, and we'll get you aligned with your consultant and account manager over here to walk you through the differences, because you might have had a nuance or something unique or something modified to your system that was unique to your environment that we would need then to discover and copy over and make sure you have it in the new environment. We want to make sure that nothing is missed. That's key. So kind of give you a brief timeline. This is a little older because it's 21, 22, obviously 23, but the top is the two main modules that have been around in the Sage manufacturing world forever. There is a third on there that I not listed because it's always still around, is bill of materials. We'll talk about that if we have a few moments as well. But the two major manufacturing modules that have been around for a very long time are the work order module in Sage and then Job Op, which is a Scanco product. And the major differentiator between the two is if you're a custom manufacturer that needs scheduling, enhanced scheduling, capacity, component exception manager, a lot of like really high level manufacturing needs, then maybe Job Ops or OM is your game. So that's a big piece to that as well. And so they have now changed names. So work order now went to production management, still work order around for those that still want it, but the next move over is going to be to production management. Job Ops really still stayed the same. It just renamed for operations management. And then at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the legacy add-on pieces. There's MRP, which did the material requirements, is now changed to IRP in Sage. Our work order scan and JOScan down here have now changed to MFG100. And then the old legacy work order efficiencies, where you could actually have a sales order that created a work ticket and they married together, is now Production Management Plus. So we've reinvented the wheel for some of these. The name has changed for some of these, but for the most part, we're always just changing the game a little bit to make things more efficient, more user friendly for you all on the floor. And we'll talk about some of those features in just a second. And moving on to the next thing. So let's talk about features and transactions. So MFG100 is going to be for any of the people from the shop floor, right? The data collection standpoint, the people that have travelers that need to track labor or track many of the different manufacturing transactions. It's from the floor level. So as you saw here, that it is for the Sage 100 production management, operations management, formerly known as Job Ops users, and that need work order or work ticket entry. It's no longer called a work order, now it's called a work ticket, hence another name change, that they need from the floor level, right? The actual level of the things being manufactured. So that's a key important thing too. It solves a lot of issues, right? The major issue, and just like with any of our products, is it solves the ability for manual data entry, those heavy task-driven things that you're either living on a spreadsheet or you're jotting things down on your traveler that has to be re-entered in the Sage, double entry, time entry. It's gonna cut a lot of corners out of the mix and get you, basically a flow streaming right back into Sage. It's immediate gratification is the biggest thing. So there's no more syncing, no more downloading, no more uploading. It captures all the important information to you and sends it right back into Sage. Now, typically, most of our customers from the shop floor level are going to be, 7 to 8 transactions, right? Or the most ones that we do. And within those transactions, there's like sub transactions and sub unique things, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But typically, we really focus on the 3 major players, right? That's parts usage or material issues. Material issues is for the production management world. If you're Job Ops, OM, it's going to be called parts usage. Labor entry is the same for both. That's the biggest one, clock in and clock in of work ticket, and material completions, or what we call make the stock for Job Ops. Those are the 3 ones we do focus on. Some of the other features that we do enhance is time card. So payroll functionality, you can just clock in and clock out on the system. It goes into Sage for your typical payroll. You'll see multi-bin capability or compatibility. That's another big one. We do give you the ability with our multi-bin enhancement, which takes standard Sage and that standard 1-to-1 bin location ratio and gives you the ability to have unlimited bin locations. You can have WIP, you can have finished good bins. Each work center or station could be a bin location where you can actually track the quantities that are in each bin location. So if you can run replenishment reports, know when you're getting low, replenish it to get back into play, so you're not any downtime on the manufacturing side. And then we do have a dashboard configuration too. which is another big one that gives you that real-time feel. The dashboard was part of our legacy products. We made it even more intuitive, more real-time, and a lot more user-friendly functionality that you can get with it. So what's next? So we're always looking to improve our products and add some new functionality. So two things that will be coming up next. A third one we just released is we're going to have work ticket picking, which is a big thing. So if you've ever used our distribution product, it allows you for real-time picking or directed picking through the warehouse or routed picking for order fulfillment. We're going to be taking the same look and feel, but doing it from a manufacturing standpoint. So instead of everything being in a workstation, you can now be dynamic, not tied down to a station, and actually be routed through the warehouse for the materials that you need to pull for that job. Case in point, if you're just a regular manufacturer that's making things, the same product day in, day out, that might be not a need for you. But where this really does come in handy is our contract manufacturers, our one-off manufacturers that have to go pull a unique item for the job. So they can go pre-pull these or have someone else in the warehouse, a picker, per se, a manufacturing picker, go pull those items they need for that specific job and stage them at the work center where that then manufacturer, that person in the floor level, will be utilizing those materials for that job that they're on. Being able to issue a job at picking, to a job at picking or moving to a staging location is another big part. So if you're in the middle of a job and you need more material that you're out of, you can actually go issue additional materials at the picking level to a certain job to further enhance it. So those are two big ones. They're our biggest ones that are close to being released here very soon. One that we just released within the last little bit is the limit the next step before the previous is completed. So what do I mean by that? So what we're doing now is we actually have a functionality that will allow you, the operations manager, our production manager, to lock down the users on the floor with the devices. That means that they cannot move on to the next step. If there's 5 steps on a work ticket, they cannot move on to the next step in process until that step that they're currently on is fully completed. That means they cannot leave any remaining. It's going to force them to do it. Now, there are overrides to all of these things, but that's a big thing too, because a lot of times if you're a manufacturer and you've been doing things from a paper standpoint for so long and you're just used to jotting things down, the scanning does slow things a little bit down. It's going to force you to do things correctly the first time, but it's also going to make sure there's no mistakes that happen. And then you'll notice at the bottom there I have something called your ideas. We are always looking, and some of these actually have come from customers that said, hey, we really think this would be a value add to your product. What would it take to add it? And some of these we just do. That we think it would be a universal, pleasing add-on to all of our customers. So we're always open to that. Just like webinar ideas, we're open to ideas to further enhance and better our product because you guys are the ones on the ground, the boots on the ground using it. We want to hear from you. So add-ons. So you heard me mention a couple legacy products, the whole MRP, IRP. There's a former product from JobOps called Purchase Agent, and then that work order enhancement that make to order functionality. So we have reinvented 2 of these for our customers. So make to order and procurement made easy. So we try to keep with the whole make easy flow thing with the rest of our products into these. So we have 2 that are unique. So Production Management Plus is unique to production management, not operations management, but production management. And what this does is it basically gives you that world between make to stock and make to order. It kind of marries the world a little bit together and kind of straddles that line of, I'm a custom manufacturer, I'm making a stock, but I'm really making an order. Customer calls up, they need something unique. I want to make it, but I don't need to have all the other enhancements that JobOps or OM does. I can settle with production management. So what this does is a customer calls up, I want X, Y, and Z. So customer service plugs in X, Y, and Z on the sales order. They hit save, and X, Y, and Z are then translated into a work ticket with all of the materials and steps, all of the bills that you set up previously, explodes out the components, and now you have a work ticket that is identical to the sales order. It's tied together. So sales order, you open it up, you can see the work ticket is tied to. Work ticket, you open it up, you can see the sales order it's tied to. It's a big thing. It allows you to auto issue labor, materials, printing. It does all the sub-assembly explosion, like I said. And because it's inside of Sage, you can actually limit users and roles based on that as well. So huge, huge thing. Like I said, it's for those contract manufacturers, those true kind of make to order, but not really terminology that marries it together. It's a very nice add-in. Both of these are subscription add-ons, just like the rest of our product. Let's talk about procurement and the spa product. So We, as an ISV of Sage and Sage world in general, loves acronyms. So SPA stands for Scanco Procurement Automation. What is it? It's a web-based utility. In fact, if you want to hit me up afterwards, we have a click-through demo that you can completely play with on your own. You have access to. Basically, what it does, it's web-based. It's our first web-based API product that is completely agnostic of Sage. It syncs up to Sage, but you can access it via Sage or just go into the web address, log in with your user ID and password. It immediately syncs up to Sage, and then it pulls over all of your materials. You can actually set different levels of warning based on your reorder point in Sage. So as soon as you log in, you can have this red little beacon blinking says, I have these 5, 6, 10, 15 products that are near critical that I have to order, or else my entire production is going to shut down because I don't have enough materials. This is also going to limit you from ordering too many that you need as well. Because how often, or more often than not, a lot of our customers, either have too much of the wrong product or not enough of the right product. This really kind of helps focus on that. It's super easy to use because it doesn't live in Sage and because it doesn't have to use all the Sage tables. It's streamlined. It's one website. It's super easy to go through and let you actually look at vendor options by price, by availability. And the biggest thing that none of the legacy products do is it will do 10, I call it 10-layer nacho dip, but 10-layer component explosion. What do I mean by that? That means that components can have components, right? Subcomponents. So you can actually go down 10 layers deep on all of it. So if your door that you sell is a normal item, and that door requires a doorknob, bolts, hinges, nuts, screws. You can look at all of those different things, find out what you have in stock, and place the order. It not only does that, but it also lets the buyer stage the purchase order for approval from their controller, and that controller signs off on it, done. And then if you actually need paper automate, or if you're paper check heavy and you need payment automation where it's auto ACH and built into it, we have that also built into it as well. So we try to make the whole buying experience very easily. So, we really kind of cover the whole gamut of order from vendor to order fulfillment to your customers. So how do we grow all this, right? We've talked about a lot of other things today. I've always kind of gone by the premise of crawl, walk, run. If you're a customer of ours today, scaling and adding on things is very easy. If you're new to Scanco, this is the first time you've been introduced to our company, we have a lot of products. And our goal is to kind of find the products that fit, basically your rank of needs. So if you can rank all your needs immediately 1 through 5, we try to look at number 1 and 2 is the most important, get that going, get you up and running, and then we look at 3, 4, and 5 at a later point. The last thing we want any of our customers to do is to have an overkill situation where they have all the keys to the castle, but they're not ready to bring on everything. So, something to think about on your end is what's important to you and how do you get there? And then besides, between us and you and your Sage reseller, we have a whole team dedicated to help you grow it. Not only do we do conference room pilots and help you manage implementations, we love to travel. We do a lot of on-site visits. So we love to come see you and come help you and help it grow. And so we have a whole team dedicated to that. We have a whole learning management system that actually helps you onboard additional employees, teach them how the product works. And then we also have a whole suite of other products too, knowledge bases, et cetera, to help you get to where you need to be. Because like I said, it's never going to be a one-way street. It's not going to be all on your shoulders. It's going to be a combination of you, us, and your consulting and partnership team with your Sage reseller. So without further ado, I did promise you a little screen time with our product, and I know we're kind of coming up against the hour. So one of the biggest things I wanted to show you is that our interfaces are super clean. So if you notice here, and I will bring up this other interface as well so we can be side by side. So on the left-hand side is our desktop application. So a lot of our manufacturers, typically we see PCs or tablets running full Windows in the world of manufacturing. You can set up a station. We license the device, not a person, and nor do we consume any Sage licenses or store any Sage data. So feel free to put this on anything that works, Windows, iOS, Android. From a manufacturing standpoint, devices typically can be shared because you're logging in and logging out with your employee ID into the transaction itself, not necessarily the device. The device can be agnostic. So on the left is the Windows desktop version. On the right is an iOS version. The Android version looks identical. We make it really streamlined, easy to use. If you notice, we pretty much take the main core modules in Sage and we just finite them and make them really clean to know what's being done. That way it doesn't slow things down too much on the floor level to help the employees out. We also allow you as the manager, owner, controller, production manager, the ability to, and I mentioned this earlier, to basically limit or give the keys to the castle to your employees of what transactions they can do. So we have our own portal. It's very similar to Sage's role maintenance, but this is our own role maintenance. This is where you can limit what companies, what warehouses our products have access to. And then from a manufacturing side, you're going to set up a manufacturing profile and then assign a user that logs into the device user, to that profile. That profile is where you're going to, again, limit or give the keys to the castle to the transactions they want, focusing on labor tracking or material issues. This is where if you have default bins or work centers, or any of those pieces here, you can actually set these up ahead of time where everything defaults in. So it's really just a click of a button. This is that limit previous step application I was telling about before. So literally it's just a check of a box, you hit the save, and you're good to go. It's that easy. The Sage side, within the world of operations management, we work through the barcode module, the mobility for barcode module in Sage. And then with production management, we work through the mobility for manufacturing module as well. So both of these push right into Sage. From a perspective of limiting or having KPIs or knowing what's happening on the floor, we have a whole dashboard system that's completely independent of Sage. This dashboard can be installed on any Windows desktop client, and it is a executable file. So this is where you, again, from a managerial level, be able to track labor, material issues in real time. So you can see this little view that says in progress. This is in real time. And, good old Wayne here was on this particular work ticket. And guess what? Wayne was clocked in and he forgot to clock out. And how often does that happen to you guys? Probably pretty typically, especially from a paper heavy level. Well, now you can actually track all this from this level. So if Wayne forgot to clock out and he came back in the next day and forgot, oh shoot, I forgot to clock out. He goes in, now he's in that work ticket for 48 hours or 24 hours. Something doesn't match up. So you can have the ability to control everything from here, edit it, change it, then post it into Sage. So we give you the ability to be a completely real time, push it straight through, or stop at a dashboard temporarily and push it right through. Again, nothing saved to everything saved back in Sage. And that goes to full history and KPIs. If you want to see what was processed or any history from a historical perspective, you go to the history view and go right through here. We will be, one of our future things we did talk about as well is currently today we have an assign order function that assigns orders out for receiving and shipping from a sales order perspective. We will be having manufacturing work ticket assignments coming out in the future as well. So that's something to look for in the roadmap. You can go here and you can actually look at your schedule for the day and assign out the work tickets you need to. And then clicking through any of these transactions, this is as simple as just going to labor tracking, clocking with your employee ID. Anytime there's a blank prompt, if something's not barcoded, we have barcode software that can make labels very easily, or you can just, do a lookup, select the employee, then you're going to go ahead and select the work ticket that can be scanned, keyed in, or punched in. It's just that easy. We'll go ahead and scan our work ticket, and then it's going to then reference us to just clock in. So there's my start time. I've already started. I'm going to track in and track out, and it's that easy. And as you can see here on my dashboard, what's in progress, and here's the one I just did. So when I say real time, I mean real time. So we are at our 30-minute limit. I did promise you to get you in and out of here in 30 minutes. So I'll throw up my last slide because unfortunately we don't have time to get to the questions I was hoping to, but I'll get to one real quick. You mentioned what is the most recent, so the one I will take to is what is the most recent release of Sage. Right now we are at 2023.0. So as Sage developers, as soon as Sage gives us the code, we typically run on a 45 to 60-day cycle of that release. So we just got 2023. So probably I would say we're closer to about 45 to 50 days now at this point of getting that released out. All of our products are available on our websites. We have a full matrix to let you know what's being released or what will be released soon. So if there's anything else you need, there's my email address, there's my phone number. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your time. Have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy your loved ones. We'll see you next time.